Welcome back to MLB9 Innings. We have a new installment, long overdue, of our skill evaluation series. Today we're looking at Ace Killer, now known as Ace Specialist. So we're doing this by comparing Molitor. So Molitor got Ace Specialist as a third skill with a blue ticket a couple months ago. And we're going to evaluate this by doing a relative comparison. You don't want to do an absolute comparison, looking at, say, how many home runs he hit a few months ago to how many home runs he hits today, unless nothing else about your team changes, which I doubt that's going to be the case. So you want to find things that are constant to compare it against. So another card, here I picked Hojo because I haven't touched Hojo in the last 4 months. He's been Black Diamond, and he has two of the three same skills. So now, okay, he had a bronze skill. I didn't exactly understand how blue tickets went, and it changed from the bronze skill to Ace Specialist as well. Level 2, he's a SIG, so I don't think it ever comes into effect. So I'm just going to say Hojo hasn't changed. And if it does come into effect, it would only benefit Hojo, which we'll explain later that, it's more helpful for the evaluation of Ace Killer. So we're also going to compare the stats. So right now, the average of contact power and I for Molitor is 123.7, while the average for Hojo's 144.3. So that's over 20 points difference in total. And a lot of it goes to power for Hojo. So Hojo has a nice advantage in terms of stats. So we got our benchmark, and we're going to look at how much stuff changes. So over here, we have 8 weeks of data beforehand. So I'm comparing OPS. And for those of you new, my cheat sheet OPS calculation, basically just looks at home runs and uses that as a proxy for slugging. So you don't get the doubles, but it's going to be pretty close. So here's Molitor's average OPS 0.731, and Hojo's average is 970. I'm not too worried about the week-to-week changes. I didn't track who's in up condition and who's in down condition. That's going to vary. But over 8 weeks, that's all going to sort of even out. So 8 weeks of playing and 8 weeks of playing, they're all going to be at up and down condition in different times. So that's a pretty big gap, 0.239 difference. So now let's look at what happened after we did the blue skill on Molitor. Now Molitor's average is 0.79 and Hojo's was 839. So just a tiny difference now. Now it's noticeable, but it's not huge. It's one level down instead of like 5. And if you notice, Hojo's average went down. Hojo stayed the same. We just improved pitching, which allowed us to move up in rank. Now we're facing better pitchers by better teams, and as a result, Hojo's average is going to drop. So that's why it's important to do something that's relative comparison, and you don't want anything really else change. You want to change as little as possible in what you're comparing. So this is I think a really good result for a specialist. Here you have one of the worst legends in the game adding a specialist from Contact Master, which is not the worst. It's not a bronze skill. It's, uh, it could be worse than contact master. Going from that to a specialist and closing the OPS gap by almost zero point 0.2. So I think, and Ace Killer, they buffed it a few months ago. So I think the buff was solid. It's not the first skill I want to aim for, at least at this stage. If I'm earlier on in my team development, so some of my other teams that I have. So if I get an Ace Killer, I just got a normal diamond at level 14 or something like that. I'm going to value Ace Killer a little higher than I had in the past. So it's been solid. I wouldn't. It's probably not a substitute for your top 3 or 4 skills, but it's a solid third, and it's also good if you're newer in development on your team. So, very positive result here. You took like I said, the worst legend in the game, or one of the worst, and now he's almost competing with a Black Diamond Sig, uh, 20 points higher in average contact power and eye. So that's like basically a Sig times 2. Sig times 2 difference. And you've narrowed the gap a lot. So if it was on something else, it could also be good. And Molitor is a good candidate just because he is the worst legend in the game, or one of the worst. So I wouldn't want Ace Killer on a Black Diamond Sig, because is your OVR going to be higher or lower than the pitcher? Maybe not too often. So it's not going to come into effect. So it's not something you want on SIGs, that's for sure. All right, well, that'll wrap it up. Hopefully do some of these short snippet videos over time, and we'll build up a collection of skill evaluations. I want to do something on the triple skill set next. Hunley's shown a lot of improvement. Having triple skills, he's now kind of pretty awesome. And then also want to do something on legend skills, trying to evaluate that. And then just sort of ideal skills for different stages of development. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. First time I ever said that. But anyway, later.